They
Okay,
must be.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, sir. Live visuals on your screen, ladies and gentlemen, but they're not live. They're deferred live because for security reasons, obviously. You understand, we've learned these lessons in 2008 when the terrorists themselves are watching on TV what's going on. So this is slightly deferred. This is from the hospital where the Home Minister is visiting the people who are obviously injured. Now, you can well imagine just in some cases just figuring out what has happened and who these bodies are is going to be difficult. What we've seen is beyond tragic. I cannot recall a single case of a CNG or an LPG blast that has caused this much damage that 12 people are dead, potentially 20 people are dead in an intersection in an open road. In a confined area, literally in a steel shuttered room, shock waves can cause those kind of fatalities from a very low intensity blast. But in open air, difficult to suggest. You can well imagine that the Home Minister is taking it very, very seriously. All lines of investigation are open, is what he said in the minutes before he has travelled to the LNJP hospital, where he will be meeting some of the injured. Now, let me get Mr. Meena back before I get General Sivaj back into this conversation. Mr. Meena, I have to ask this question because every cop has a gut instinct, and of course you nurtured that gut instinct your entire life. How dangerous is it? Because in the past we have always seen serial, not one. It's always more than one. We've seen in the past sometimes that one blast is done and the commotion that is caused by the blast, a secondary blast follows. Now, it's been 2.5 hours, but I'm assuming that we have to think that this is not just one and prepare for the worst there also.
In fact, this can only be told after examination. This is a serious blast, where you are telling, and everybody is predicting. And this is a serious issue. This is a serious incident. And only after examination, as I told you, the dead bodies which have been recovered from there, each and every has to be the dead bodies, and their identification is to be done. Now, first of all, the vehicles are to be identified, checking has to be there, whatever evidences are available with the police there, all sequence of events have to be checked. And these steps are to be taken immediately. A group of officers, they must be working and they must find out and conclude what exactly has happened, who has got hands in this. If it is a terrorist attack, then they have to conclude, they have to reach up to the route from where these explosive have come, what exactly, because now we could see for last few days, like we can see that a lot of explosives have been recovered in many, so those, whether it has got linkage with that, everything has to be examined by police sequence wise. Then only we can conclude. But one thing is clear, the police of officers of all states and UTs, they have to remain alert. If it is terrorist attack, then it should not be repeated anywhere. So they should intensify their checking.
Okay.
Checking is necessary, examination necessary, vehicles checking is continuously, places like all anti-terrorist measures have to be taken. And
Okay,
in
so the
fact,
visuals, I'm
state
sorry to interrupt
government,
you. So the visuals you're seeing on your screens are the latest visuals. Now, these are from inside the LNJP hospital, where even inside the LNJP hospital, the Home Minister is taking a briefing from the police officers who have joined him. And an update is being taken. A very animated conversation is happening from the police officers. I'm trying to confirm whether that's the Commissioner of Police or the DCP who is sitting with him. Brian, my colleague, is joining us. Brian, a very urgent conversation is going on. Do we know, is the Commissioner of Police on site right now? What do we know?
Rishabh, as of now, we are outside the LNGT hospital. I'll show you the visuals here. This place has been entirely barricaded because just a while back, the Home Minister Amit Shah reached LNGP hospital, knowing that he's inside to talk to citizens and to see how the situation is. Not only that, you see this entire place has been cordoned off completely, and this has been completely heavily barricaded. You can see CRPF, Delhi police officials completely barricaded. This is gate number 5. Clearly, we are not allowed to go inside because the Home Minister is inside, and he's taking a cognizance of the situation, talking to the victims who have been in a very critical condition. As of now, 60% brain injuries have also been taken into consideration of the victims. Here also, apart from us, there are other media channels here itself, but you can see the visuals, the fact that these entire places have been completely cordoned off, completely sealed off, and here at every interval, every 50 meters, 100 meters, there is a heavy deployment of police officials here. Ambulances are here, PCR vehicles here, and all of these have been here as meanwhile even the Home Minister is talking to the victims, and clearly a very distressing the LNGP. 8 people have lost their lives, several others have been injured. There is still no clarity as of the reason of this very tragic incident that has happened, but you can see heavy deployment of vehicles, heavy deployment of police forces, and complete, calling off that has happened at this
Okay.
very road.
Brian, do me a favor, have a conversation with Javed and update us on who are the senior officers who are briefing the Home Minister. What they are briefing, of course, is nobody's business until a statement can be made. So we'll stay away from that. There will be certain information that should not be put into the public domain, that you and I should not know, because we have to eventually catch the guys who've done it, and we have to now also assume that somebody's done this. Let me get General Sivach back into this conversation. Now, General Sivach, thankfully and troublingly, I have lived through this city all my life. So I remember 2008, I remember 2005, and I remember the modus operandi then. If I'm not mistaken, in 2005, when it happened before Diwali, this was Sarojini Nagar, Paharganj. Now, crowded market areas, right before Diwali, people are out shopping in large numbers. In Govindpuri, another explosion took place on a bus. Now, this was vehicles that were used where bags had been planted. 2 vehicles parked on the side of the road, 1 bag planted in a moving bus, which exploded. This was 2005. That was an LET attack. 50 people had been killed. 200 had been injured at that point of time. In 2008, many people who are from Delhi will remember Gafar Market, Connaught Place, M Block Market, which is GK1. These were dustbins, bicycles. So, packages that were put inside dustbins or packages that were put on top of bicycles. There were other bombs that were diffused. One of them in India Gate, again in a dustbin it was found. So, there was a modus operandi. This time around, what we know for sure, General Sivach, is that this I-20 was moving. It was in traffic, but there were people inside this car, and it was a moving car. Now, what do we make of that? Is there a possibility, even a percentage chance, that these people knew what they were doing and blew themselves up?
Yeah, Rishabh, your voice was not very clear. There was distortion coming, but all said and done, I have understood your question. But one thing is very clear, that in case we take it that it is a CNG oblique basically a gas cylinder blast, because there were people inside, it couldn't have been a Fedayeen attack. There were not one, there were 2-3 people. But where it is pointing out again, as far as terrorist action is concerned, the intensity of blast is so strong that almost about 10 to 12 people have been killed, and there are about 3 to 4 vehicles around that they have been also blown. It gives the indication that whatever may be the reason, there is a chance of being IED used or the explosive used or the RDX used. Now, how do we find out whether it was a cylinder or whether it was explosive? As my co-panelists were also indicating, see, I have seen number of IED blasts, at least about 15 to 20 in Kashmir Valley. Now, IED blast, once you use RDX, it gives you a smell. and it also gives you fragments. You can make out the RDS was used. So, in the preliminary investigation, you can easily make out whether it was a blast due to gas cylinder or the CNG blast, or it was a basically ID blast or explosive being used, because
Okay,
the
but
smell will
you
give
know,
you that
I
indication.
know it's not official yet, but let's call a spade, sir. Of the I-20 car, there's nothing left. Prime Minister Modi putting out this statement: condolences to those who have lost their loved ones in the blast in Delhi earlier this evening. May the injured recover at the earliest. Those affected are being assisted by authorities. I've reviewed the situation with Home Minister Amit Shah ji and other officials. That's the statement on your screens that the Prime Minister has put out after he's had a briefing, as we've been reporting to you, with the Home Minister, who currently is in the LNJP hospital. In a meeting, he's meeting with the police, receiving the latest update. General Sivach, of the car, which was the I-20 car, there's nothing left, sir. Just the wheels. Everything is gone.
It is possible.
There is at least one Wagoner right behind it, which is again, it's crumpled like it's gone through. Somebody has taken a can and crushed it. There is at least one other Maruti car, one of those minivan types, which has its door smashed in. Couple of autos, roofs are gone. At least one, we can see one of these, these electric rickshaws, e-rickshaws that are used, which is on its side. There's one mini truck where the back end of its entire door is caved in. Difficult to say, sir, but I don't think it take too much rocket science to conclude that a CNG LPG cylinder has caused this. So then it comes to how big the IED was, what kind of explosion has taken place, which I'm assuming is being ascertained at this point of time. But I wanted to come back on the modus operandi, sir, where we saw this last in 2008, that was 17 years ago, where it was tiffin on a bicycle, or a bag thrown into a dustbin, or a bag left in a car, or a bag left in we've never had a situation in which the car was a moving car, sir.
Rishabh, the modus operandi keep on changing. Even in Kashmir Valley, it wasn't one type of this. We had sometimes fidine attacking taking place, sometimes explosive been planted on the road itself. Sometime in Pulwama there was a fidine attack which had taken place. So really you can't make out anything with the strategy and tactics which has been adopted by the terrorists. But in case if it is a terrorist act, which possibly seemingly looks to be that, because the intensity of blast is so high, it couldn't be a gas cylinder oblique the CNG leak. Now, having said so, why they have used this? This is a modus operandi. How do they adopt it? They know it that the cat is already out of the bag. Therefore, sleeper cell and overground worker has been already nabbed. They possibly may have been given order that you now do action before you are also being caught. That can be a possibility, because so far in last 10 to 12 years, the NIA has been very, very strong, and you have never seen any blast taking place other than J&K. The reason was the proactive strategy and information and intelligence shared between the state government and the central government. But if this incident is a terrorist action, and which can be only proved once it been declared, then it is a cause of concern as to how this explosive have come, who all were there in I-20, whether it was detonated or it was basically supposed to be fidine, because fidine, it can't be there, it has not gone and basically had an impact with anything. It
All right.
possibly is been remote.
All right. My colleagues on the field who are reporting are insisting that at this point of time, it is too early to draw a conclusion on the nature of the blast that has taken place. That the suspicion of this actually being a CNG cylinder blast has not yet been ruled out. I am repeating and underlining that the Delhi police have not ruled out that this could have just been a CNG cylinder in a car which caused the blast, which set fire to cars and auto rickshaws, bikes and scooties. So that qualification remains. Can't rule it out. Let me just open up this conversation so that we can pick up. It's being taken seriously as it should be taken seriously. So now what you're seeing on your screen, ladies and gentlemen, this is a briefing that is taking place at the LNJP hospital. That's Anil Shukla. He is recently been appointed head of the Delhi Police Special Cell. The Special Cell, ladies and gentlemen, is Delhi's equivalent of an anti-terrorist squad. It deals specifically with these kind of insidious cases. He took over literally 2 weeks ago. Satish Golcha is the Delhi Police Commissioner. So those are the two people who are briefing the Home Minister. And in fact, Mr. Rao, who is also served in the Special Cell of the Delhi Police, is joining us on the broadcast. Mr. Rao is looking very bad. Now, our reporters who are in touch with our sources are telling us that we can't yet. It's been almost 2.5 hours. But right now, the CNG angle is not being ruled out. I mean, how difficult would it be to identify if actually the chemical tracing is suggesting something wrong has happened, sir?
Rishabh, good evening, and to all your viewers and co-panelists, good evening to all. There is really a very sad incident which took the life of more than 13 people and so many injured. And so far as the cause of this blast, we can say that definitely you are right, and your reporters are also right. We cannot say at this moment what is the cause of this, whether it's a terrorist attack or maybe a cylinder CNG blast. Could be a CNG blast, because if there is something wrong went into the CNG blast, that will be a very serious blast. In that it's also being reported that there was a loud voice about it, and when it is the fire is being caught in that blast, the surrounding vehicles are also caught with fire, and that may be the reason. But it's too early to say whether it's a bomb blast or not, because FSL, Forensic Science Laboratory experts are there. CNG, NSG people are also there. They are also expert in blast training and all these things. Special cell officials are also there. Senior officers are looking into that, supervising this investigation, and tell an analyst that, as you rightly said, the traces of chemical, if it is found something explosive, traces are found at the spot, which are very difficult.
Okay. Mr. Rao, your former colleague, Mr. Meena, is also with us, and I was just discussing with him. You have the chemical tests, the handheld devices that can go into the spot and can give you a result. Generally, the result comes instantaneously. It's almost within minutes that you get a chemical trace analysis, sir. How accurate are these devices, and how reliably do you, in your opinion, would you consider them, Mr. Rao?
Yes.
These chemical analysis devices, the handheld devices, which allow you to conduct these examinations, how reliable are these devices, sir?
FSL experts take with them these handheld devices to find out at the spot even also. If there is the most important requirement of this testing is that there should be some chemical traces there at the spot. If these are there, then those traces can be explained whether what chemical was there, what explosive was there. Definitely they have some tools which may be carried in hand, and without taking them to the laboratory, they can do that. But I think they have not decided and they have not concluded in that angle, and they are still working on that. And that's why the Delhi police has not clearly come out with that, whether it's a bomb blast or any explosive blast or blast of a gas cylinder. They are still investigating at that, and till
yes, and I repeat to you, for the benefit of our viewers watching and who are deeply concerned and are drawing the same conclusions of what we are drawing, that what the heck has just happened? 12 people are dead, potentially 13, at least 12, many others seriously injured. That fatality count is expected now to rise at the LNJP hospital. 8 were in fact brought dead on arrival. And the visuals we can't show you, of course, is of bodies which have been completely decimated. As you see the Home Minister meeting some of the injured who are now in hospital. So the entire site, ladies and gentlemen, all the fires have been put out. Home Minister is currently at the LNJP hospital. He's had a briefing from the head of the special cell as well as the Commissioner of Police. It was a very animated briefing. What they were discussing, of course, is none of our business. Well, at this point of time, my colleagues, my reporters are insisting that the police is not ruling out the fact that this could merely be a CNG blast, that all the alerts that have been sounded have indeed been sounded out of abundant caution, and we need to take it carefully. Now, what are the likelihoods of that? Let's examine this for a second. Siddharth, can we pull out some details of CNG explosions? Do they actually cause this kind of damage? Now, in June of 2025, an explosion that took place in northeast Delhi. It was a powerful explosion. At least 2 children were killed and several people were injured in the shock wave. It was powerful enough to damage nearby structures. In Najafgarh in October 2024, a CNG tank in a car exploded while it was being filled at a service station. 1 person was injured. In Jalandhar in January of last year, 5 people were killed when the CNG kit in their car caught fire after an accident with a truck, which then led to an explosion. In 2018 in Gurugram, a man died after being burnt when his CNG car caught fire, even though there was no explosion reported. So, have there been CNG blasts that have led to fatalities in the past? The answer is yes. Have there been a CNG explosion in which injuries have taken place? The answer is a lot more. I can think of several incidences that have happened. Have we ever seen a blast this big caused by a CNG cylinder? I can't recall. Where it has shredded bodies and thrown bodies 20 meters away, I can't recall. But we have to draw some conclusions, and the conclusions can only be drawn from information that we are pretty sure what we can see, and they are indicating a major explosion has taken place. It has been large enough that the metro station, which was across the road, which means the metro station gate number 1 was on the other side of the road. Its entire glass facade is shattered. It's lying on the ground in pieces. People who were in buildings, and I've spoken to some of them, in offices and buildings nearby, felt the ground shake with the intensity of the explosion. So, Joyita, we are still in limbo because here we are almost 2.5 hours later, and our reporters are insisting that the police are not ruling out CNG blast, that they are, that's still an open line of conversation, an open line of investigation.
Rishabh, if it is a CNG blast, then obviously more than one CNG cylinder was involved in it. Because you see, from whatever you described, there is no way possible that one cylinder blast can cause this kind of havoc. And it's quite, I would say, this is, as I said, that radius is quite big and the intensity. So, but then there are certain other, of course, source-based information coming in saying that some traces of ammonium nitrate has already been found, and it is but natural if it is true, then the whole thing will be traced back to the Faridabad bombers, potential bombers. They were also the terrorists. They had ammonium nitrate. So, Rishabh, it seems like I don't know what the Delhi police will be saying. Of course, they are being very cautious and rightly so, but I think it is what we are afraid of. I think it is some kind of a terror operation.
Because, Joyita, it can be both. There can be an explosion that also happens next to a cylinder which causes a secondary explosion. So, it can be both. Now, here is the working theory. So, the working theory is that there was a CNG fitted Hyundai i20 car, that there was a blast in that car. The blast caused a fire in about 7 cars around it, an auto rickshaw, mobikes and one scooty also were burnt. That the gate number 1 of the metro, its glass is shattered, even though it was across the road. That both the gates of the metro have been closed. There you can see the shattered glass there. This is across the road, so about 10, 12, 15 meters away. Now, are high pressured explosions, which there is a flammable gas in a high pressure cylinder, can they cause intense explosions that can cause a lot of damage? I have given you several examples that yes, they can. But what we have seen on our screens is disturbing. But there is a working formula. Now, that does not rule out, because the Home Minister has said that all lines of inquiry are open. But we are here 2.5 hours later. Mr. Meena, of course, the police have to be cautious in concluding what has taken place or ruling out what has taken place. But let us assume now in the other case that actually this was incidental and accidental, something unfortunate has happened. Then to have a CNG blast that has killed maybe 15 people, so that will be the worst CNG blast in the country ever.
Yes, it is true. If it is CNG blast, it is also very serious. But we can't comment at this stage because experts are examining it, and Delhi police has not given any statement regarding this. First, let's hear official statement, because those who are on the spot, those who have gone on the spot, those who are examining this site or place of occurrence, they can only conclude, and then only we can say what exactly has happened, and we can comment on that. It is too early. We can only presume what exactly happened. We can only see what are the possibilities. But first, let them come out with this. If it is like a cylinder blast, it is also very serious. If it is terrorist attack, as assumed by people, and it is explosive and explosives have explosion, it is explosives have been used, it is much more serious for police authorities, much more serious. It has got a lot of implications of public, like everybody has to be alert. Again, this will instill fear amongst people who are living in big cities, not only in Delhi, everywhere in the country. Now, for that, even governments have to examine, the police systems have to be strengthened in such a way that such incidents should have not happen. In fact, we can see the governments, various governments are not giving proper resources to the state police what they are demanding. State police is writing to the governments, but government is not providing exactly what they want. It is high time that all governments should examine demand of state police, different police and UT police. Respective governments have to provide resources, have to provide police strength as per requirement. They have to provide vehicles as per their requirement. They should strengthen PCR strength.
Okay.
They should increase number of PCRs as per required by the police, and whatever resources
Yeah,
they
Mr. Meena,
want.
because as we often discuss, between the intelligence and the police, their success rate has to be 100%. It can't be 99.9%. It has to be 100%. So that's the reality. Now, we've been fortunate that in no major city in India outside of Jammu and Kashmir has seen a terror attack in more than a decade. 12 years it's been. We've seen horrible ones, of course, happen in Jammu and Kashmir. We all know what happened a few months ago in Pahalgam. Javed, my colleague, is joining us now. As we speak with Javed, I can tell you that there is a red alert that has been sounded in Eastern Railway. So you can imagine that this is being taken very seriously. But Javed, at this point of time, they are still investigating that potentially it's a CNG blast.
और देखिए जो अभी तक की जो जानकारी मिली ऋषभ जी, जिस तरीके से ब्लास्ट हुआ है ये हाई डेंसिटी ब्लास्ट है, क्योंकि आमतौर पर अगर किसी सीएनजी व्हीकल में भी, देखिए मैं तस्वीरें पहले आपको दिखाना चाहूंगा कि इस वक्त एनएसजी की बॉम्ब डिस्पोजल जो स्क्वाड की टीम है और ऋषभ जी देखिए वो इस वक्त यहाँ पर पहुंच गई है।
और दूसरी तरफ ये मशीन यहाँ पे लाई गई। That's a team that's armed with automatic rifles, and the vehicles have also come in. Something is happening, of course, and Javed, I would recommend you stay away from that spot. We don't have to do live reportage on this. If it comes to us a few minutes later, it's perfectly okay. In case it is the worst case scenario, I don't want to be informing anybody watching live what is going on. So you just give us an overall picture. So what is the suspicion right now? Is the CNG theory still on, or is it out of the window?
और देखिए जो अभी तक की जानकारी है, जिस तरीके से ब्लास्ट हुआ है वो हाई डेंसिटी ब्लास्ट है, क्योंकि आमतौर पर अगर सीएनजी ब्लास्ट होता है या किसी गाड़ी में ब्लास्ट भी होता है आग की वजह से या किसी भी टेक्निकली वजह से, तो इस तरह के फॉल्ट से इतना बड़ा हादसा नहीं होता है, क्योंकि गाड़ी वहीं पर जलकर पूरी तरीके से हो जाता है, किसी तरह का कोई स्पार्क नहीं होता है। लेकिन जिस तरीके से यहाँ पर जो ब्लास्ट हुआ लाल किले के पास गेट नंबर 1 के, वो जो ब्लास्ट है वो पूरी तरीके से ब्लास्ट इस तरीके का है कि उस ब्लास्ट के बाद उस कार में, जो कि हरियाणा नंबर की गाड़ी थी, इको गाड़ी बताई गई है, और उसमें ब्लास्ट के बाद उसके बाद बाकी 8-9 और गाड़ियां उस गाड़ी के पूरे चपेट में आ गई, जिसमें जो तस्वीरें हैं, हालांकि तस्वीरें बेहद दर्दनाक है, और जिसमें जिस तरीके से लोग ब्लास्ट की चपेट में आने के बाद गाड़ी के बोनेट पर जाके गिर गए, और इसमें तकरीबन 8 लोगों की मौत हो गई। और
बट जावेद 20 मीटर दूर बॉडी बॉनेट पे, गाड़ी के बॉनेट पे गिरी है, अडल्ट बॉडी गिरी है 20 मीटर दूर जाके, तो ये बड़ी हाई इंटेंसिटी ब्लास्ट तो हुआ है। तो क्या तो सीएनजी का भी अब इन्वेस्टिगेट कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि सीएनजी ब्लास्ट भी होते हैं देश में, इतना बड़ा कभी नहीं देखा हमने, बट ये पॉसिबिलिटी अभी भी है कि वो पॉसिबिलिटी अब क्या रद्द कर दी गई है अब?
जो मेरे यहाँ पे कुछ जो सोर्सेज हैं, जो जिस तरीके से यहाँ पे इन्वेस्टिगेशन चल रहा, फॉरेंसिक की टीम है, यहाँ से सामने बिल्कुल जो है आगे रेड लाइट है, जहाँ से दरियागंज का रास्ता शुरू होता है, उस रेड लाइट तक लोगों का कहना है वहाँ तक आवाज़ सुनाई दी थी ऋषभ जी। और पूरी तरीके से जो पीछे रेसिडेंशियल इलाका, मेरे दूसरी तरफ पीछे जो जामा मस्जिद और यहाँ से चांदनी चौक का इलाका पीछे है, जो रेसिडेंशियल इलाका, वहाँ तक जो लोगों ने आवाज़ सुनी थी। आमतौर पर जो सीएनजी अगर गाड़ी में ब्लास्ट होती है, जो लोग जैसा कहते हैं कि इतना डेंसिटी ब्लास्ट नहीं है कि आवाज दूर तक गूंजता है, क्योंकि वो सीएनजी ब्लास्ट होने के बाद बहुत ही कम एरिया तक वो स्पार्क करता है। लेकिन जिस तरीके से ये ब्लास्ट हुआ, इसमें जिस तरीके से 8 गाड़ियां जो है पूरी तरीके से उस गाड़ी में ब्लास्ट होने के बाद उसकी पूरी चपेट में आई, उसके बाद आसपास के जो लोग हैं वो जिस तरीके से वहां पर उसमें उसकी चपेट में आ गए, और 8 लोगों की मौत हो गई, करीबन 24 लोग इंजर्ड हो गए, और डेंसिटी इतनी हाई थी कि पूरी तरीके से जो लोग थे यहाँ पर, जो आसपास के लोग थे, जो हमने आई विटनेस से भी बात की, उनका कहना है कि अभी तक इस आवाज से, इस ब्लास्ट के बाद उनका जो कान है वो पूरी तरह से काम नहीं कर रहा है, क्योंकि उनका कहना है कि हमारी गाड़ी कुछ ही दूरी पर थी और सडनली आवाज हुआ, ब्लास्ट हुआ। अब देखिए यहाँ पर जिस तरीके से एनआईए की भी टीम है और एनएसजी लगातार जो है यहाँ पर अब पहुंच चुकी है, और एनएसजी भी इस पूरे तौर पर अपने जो इक्विपमेंट के साथ, जो बॉम्ब डिस्पोजल इक्विपमेंट है उसके साथ यहाँ पर पहुंची है। और यह भी बताया जा रहा है कि यहाँ पर थोड़ी देर में गृह मंत्री अमित शाह भी यहाँ पर पहुंच सकते हैं, जैसी जानकारी मिल रही है। और अब जो है इन्वेस्टिगेशन जो है वो इन्वेस्टिगेशन पूरी तरीके से यहाँ पर इस वक्त चल रही है, और एनएसजी और नेशनल इन्वेस्टिगेशन एजेंसी यानी एनआईए की जो फॉरेंसिक टीम है, एनआईए की जो बॉम्ब जो आमतौर पर टेरर मॉड्यूल पर और ब्लास्ट में जो काम करती है, वो यहाँ पर एनआईए की टीम मौजूद है। और देखिए पूरी तरीके से इस इलाके को बैरिकेड किया जा रहा है, और दूसरी जगहों से यहाँ पर बैरिकेड यहाँ पर मंगाई जा रही है, और इस इलाके को आगे पूरी तरह से बैरिकेड कर दिया गया है। और वहाँ पर जो टेक्निकल टीम है, दिल्ली पुलिस की बात करें या फिर जो फॉरेंसिक टीम होती है, और इसके अलावा जो क्राइम टीम होती है, वो भी मौके पर है। देखिए यूपी एटीएस भी यहाँ पर पहुंची है इस वक्त, ऋषभ जी, यहाँ पर यूपी एटीएस इस पूरे ब्लास्ट मामले में जो है यहाँ पर पहुंची है। सर क्या आप लोग कुछ बताएंगे सर, यहाँ पर आपको सुपरविजन करने
देखने आया, यूपी एटीएस की तरफ से आए हैं। उसी विल इन्फॉर्म
आप इस ब्लास्ट को ठीक है क्या सर दिल्ली पुलिस ने अप्रोच किया था या आप इस मॉड्यूल को जिस तरीके से सहारनपुर में जो मामला हुआ था उसको लेके?
नहीं अभी कोई कमेंट्स नहीं, अभी बस प्लीज जरा
इन्होंने कहा कि हम यहाँ पर जांच के लिए पहुंचे हैं और जिस तरीके से यूपी में, संभल में, सहारनपुर में जिस तरीके से जो पूरा एक मॉड्यूल सामने आया था उसको लेकर यूपी एटीएस पहुंची। यूपी एटीएस ने कहा है कि जो ब्लास्ट हुआ है हम उस मॉड्यूल को देखने के लिए आए हैं, इन्वेस्टिगेशन के लिए आए हैं। हमारे पास किसी का कॉल नहीं है, दिल्ली पुलिस से कोई कॉल नहीं है, लेकिन हम इस केस को देखने के लिए आए हैं। और यूपी एटीएस की 3 से 5 लोगों की टीम है जो इस वक्त यहाँ पर पहुंची है। और यूपी एटीएस का कहना है कि जो सहारनपुर, हालांकि उन्होंने ज्यादा कुछ नहीं कहा, लेकिन देखिए ऋषभ जी, जो सहारनपुर में जिस तरीके से डॉक्टर आदिल जो कि कश्मीरी मुल्क का
जावेद, ये हरियाणा का नंबर प्लेट है, प्लीज चेक करवाइए। हमारे पास खबर आ रही है कि ये फरीदाबाद में निकला है नंबर, तो प्लीज़ इसको चेक करवाइए। प्लीज़ यू कम बैक टू मी, मैं आपके पास 1 मिनट में आ रहा हूँ, ठीक है? ये चेक करवाओ प्लीज़, फरीदाबाद क्या हो रहा है। सो ये यूपी ATS showed up. My Jammu correspondent is telling us that a team from Jammu and Kashmir is en route to Delhi. The NIA is there, the NSG is there, and the NSG commandos are there in full battle dress. Let's not kid ourselves, so this line of investigation of CNG, well, fair and good, and yes, as I've read out to you, CNG blasts have happened in this country, but surely this kind of organization is not being done for a suspected prima facie CNG blast. Almost impossible to believe. An adult body that has been flung 20 meters away to land on top of a car 20 meters away by a CNG explosion. I don't want to rule out the physics of it. A CNG cylinder in the back of a car is roughly 3,500 psi. To put into context, your car tire is probably 35 psi. So it has 1,000 times more pressure than your car tire. Okay. So 100 times more pressure than your car tire. So you can do the maths that yes, it is of an explosive nature, but never before have we seen something like this. So it would be either the worst ever CNG blast, and that also in a small car, Hyundai i20, very small car. There's nothing left of that car, it's all gone. General Dwivedi with us. General Dwivedi, we are of course in an information vacuum, but teams that are coming in from Jammu and Kashmir, from Uttar Pradesh, NSG, NIA, the fatality count is now at 12 or 13. You've seen the visuals, sir. I mean, we have to sanitize them for television. We've seen the witnesses. I've spoken to them, some in buildings which are 200, 300 meters away. They felt the ground shake. This was not a joke of an explosion, sir. This has been something pretty insidious has taken place.
Absolutely, Rishabh. Firstly, it's very tragic that almost dozen innocent lives have been lost. And while we have to come to a conclusion whether it was a CNG blast or it was a blast of explosion of a different nature, but nonetheless, one can join some dots and also try to navigate through the vacuum, information vacuum that we have. As you rightly said, that the intensity of blast actually is of a nature, which points that it could be a explosive blast, but it's too early to conjecture. The second point is that the kind of impact it had on the surroundings, means body being flung by about 20 meters, that again also possibly indicates that it was a explosive blast and not merely CNG blast. And the third point is you have to also see the intelligence reports that are coming in. Some people have been apprehended. Faridabad, there was also that ammonia nitrate also apprehended. So the point is that it needs to be seen in entirety, but I am glad that all our security agencies are not taking it lightly, because it's too early to write it off. We need to take it as a possibly worst scenario case, and therefore earlier we are able to unlock this riddle, I think a better, because intelligence actually builds up. It doesn't come in one spurt, it gradually builds up. I'm sure that intelligence agency will be able to figure out what exactly was the cause
obviously,
of
speculation is dangerous, sir. You understand it as well as I do. Speculation is dangerous. Javed, are you there right now? कि क्या पता चला है गाड़ी के नंबर के बारे में? Okay, let's try to get Javed back. Now, the reason I'm going to confirm this and General Dwivedi is because I said speculation is dangerous, but we are talking about what was it, almost half a ton of ammonium nitrate, 400 kilograms of ammonium nitrate, AK-47s, other potential poisonous substances recovered from Faridabad. And then less than 24 hours later, if indeed the car that is blown up was registered in Faridabad. Now, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to then be very suspicious of a causal chain of links.
Absolutely, Rishabh, because as I was saying that in intelligence you have to join the dots to navigate the deficit of information or the vacuum. But as we are kind of putting the pieces together, it apparently appears, again, no speculation, that the intensity of the blast, when you compare the
7 बजे हुंडई i20 कार में एक ब्लास्ट हुआ है और ब्लास्ट के कारण कार और कार के आसपास की 3-4 व्हीकल और खड़े हुए लोग, ऑटो में बैठे हुए लोग इंजर्ड भी हुए हैं और कुछ मृत्यु भी हुई है। अस्पताल के सूत्रों के अनुसार अब तक 8 लोगों की मृत्यु हो चुकी है। कुछ लोग इंजर्ड हैं, इनका इलाज यहाँ पर चल रहा है। हम सभी एंगल को खुला रखते हुए इसकी गहन जांच शुरू कर दी है। जैसे ही ब्लास्ट की सूचना मिली, दिल्ली पुलिस स्पेशल सेल, क्राइम ब्रांच, एनआईए की टीम, एसपीजी की टीम, एफएसएल की टीम मौके पर पहुंच गई है और सभी प्रकार की जांच हम तेजी से कर रहे हैं। कुछ ही समय में मैं आशा करता हूं कि धमाके का कारण क्या है उसके निर्णय पर हमारी एजेंसियां पहुंच जाएगी और एफएसएल की सीनियर मोस्ट टीम भी यहां पर पहुंची। धमाके की सूचना आने के बाद तुरंत ही माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी का मुझे फोन आया था। उसके बाद प्राथमिक इंफॉर्मेशन लेकर मैंने प्रधानमंत्री जी को भी ब्रीफ किया है। अभी यहाँ से मैं घटनास्थल पर जाने के लिए निकल रहा हूं और कल एक बड़े सवेरे ही सीनियर लोगों की टीम के साथ गृह मंत्रालय में बैठक कर इसकी डिटेल जांच की जाएगी।
सर, आपको लगता है कि इस हमले के पीछे, जो ब्लास्ट हुआ, इसके पीछे कोई आतंकी हमला है या कोई भी प्लानिंग यहाँ पर की जा रही है? देखिए,
हम सभी एंगल्स को ओपन रखकर सभी दृष्टि से जांच कर रहे हैं। घटना किस कारण से हुई ये अभी कहना बहुत मुश्किल है। जब तक विस्फोट के स्पॉट पर से जो स्पेसिमेंस मिलेंगे, इसका जब तक एफएसएल का एनालिसिस, एनएसजी का एनालिसिस नहीं होता, इसके बारे में कुछ भी कहना दिक्कत है। मगर हम किसी भी एंगल को बंद नहीं मानते हैं। सभी एंगल का हम दृढ़ता के साथ आगे जांच करें। धन्यवाद।